Afternoon. This is Ian Gonzalez, and joining me again is my brother Lucas Gonzalez.
Hello.
Tonight I'm going to be talking about honeybees and a study concerning the differentiation of honeybees due to their diets. But first, we're going to talk about their background, as we usually do. The honeybees are fall into the genus Apis, which are known for constructing their nests from wax and live in large communities called hives. Now, currently, the currently known number of species are seven honeybee species, which originated from southeastern Asia. Now, they are widely distributed throughout the world, mostly for the purpose of collecting honey for humans. In addition, honeybees are valuable for their construction of wax. Now, they live in hives semi-open to the environment, choosing to build nests in crevices of trees or from multiple honeycombs.
What's the purpose of a honeycomb?
Well, bees build these honeycombs for the purpose of raising their larvae. What they do is the queen lays the egg in a honeycomb chamber or cell, and then they gestate. They go through the stages before they become an adult and are looked after by the worker bees. Now, getting back to the honeybees, the genetic past of honeybees, it's been shown that their evolutionary pathway stemmed from or deviated from ants and wasps. Now, what bees and ants have in common is that they have a certain what is called a caste system.
How do the castes of the bees differentiate?
Well, there are three different types of bee castes within a honeybee society. The focal point of the colony would be the queen, which is the only fertile female in the group, and there's only one per colony. That doesn't mean that more can be created, but in one colony there is only one queen. Then another caste would be the drone bees. These are the fertile males, and they usually number in the thousands and only occur during the mating season for the bees. Their only purpose is reproduction with the future queens, at which point they usually die shortly afterwards. And the most numerous and consistent bees that are produced are the worker bees. And these bees also vary seasonally and are sterile females. Now, in terms of reproduction, as I mentioned before, the queen lays eggs in these wax cell honeycombs, and the queen can choose either to fertilize or not to fertilize the egg. If it chooses not to fertilize, it forms into the drones or the male bees. That makes these bees haploid, meaning they only contain half the number of chromosomes as opposed to the diploid bees, which would be the queens and workers. Now, if they're fertilized, then they form into the queens and workers, and the distinction between these two would be in their diet.
Why does the consumption of royal jelly affect the differentiation?
Well, yeah, as Lucas pointed out, larvae, the worker bees do produce royal jelly, and the larvae, if they feed on royal jelly continually, they then become the queen bees. All larvae initially feed off royal jelly. It really depends on the amount that they consume. If they consume great deals, they become a queen. If they consume less, then they become worker bees. Now, that is the focus of the journal article of interest today. This journal was pulled from the Public Library of Science, and this study was conducted by Professor Raizerad Malska of the Australian National University College of Medicine, Biology, and Environment, and others. Now, this study is of particular interest because it plays a role in the nature versus nurture influences of genetics. As mentioned before, their diets are their differentiation depends on their diets. In this case, in terms of royal jelly, and we find that the consumption of the royal jelly actually can affect the bees during development on a molecular level, particularly in altering their brains, which will affect their behavior. Now, the specific organism they studied was the Apis mellifera, and the chemical processes that take place during methylation. They found that when larvae are fed royal jelly for an extended period of time, they see an epigenetic change, which means that it doesn't change the genetic code, rather it changes expression. The chemical process that is initiated by the consumption of royal jelly will eventually lead to the marking of DNA within the brain. This study was conducted particularly on methyl cytosine distribution in the queen's and worker brains, using sequencing of bisulfate converted DNA. They located in what are called CpG nucleotides of 5,854 genes in bees. And after conducting the study on these genes, they found that methylation patterns vary between over 550 genes between queens and worker bees. This indicates that the expression of these genes vary between the two castes, and thus results in varying behavior.
What does the study mean for future testing?
Well, what the authors of this article believe is that there's a possibility that this sort of methylation of the DNA in brains and so on could be extended to explain maybe some differentiations in humans. Maybe our diets, depending on our diets, we may experience some alterations in gene expression that are not purely genetic, and that's why they're mostly interested. Anyway, I find all this very, very interesting. Lucas, what are your thoughts on methylation and the variation of bees? I just think it's interesting that it's not just down to the DNA level. It is to the DNA level, but that there are modifications that occur during the organism's life. I mean, what do you think of that? Do you think that can be extended to other organisms, or?
Well, from what I learned in my 10th grade biology class, yes.
I'm very thank you for your input. I really appreciate that. Anyway, what do you think though? Do you believe that they have a common ancestry with ants and wasps though? I mean, looking at their structure.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there are I'm not thinking of the word right now. Six-legged.
Okay, you mean the definition of them being an insect means they have 6 legs?
Yes.
Okay. But no, I mean, in addition, if you look at them, their structure, like the size of their heads and their bodies and their thorax, I mean, what do you think?
I'd say that they probably definitely had some sort of ancestor down the line. Just like everything else.
Well, true. I'm just saying that they have a more recent common ancestor. That's what I'm thinking. So, you got to kind of wonder that maybe ants undergo some sort of similar differentiation, but I haven't heard of ants eating royal jelly. Have you?
No, I have not.
So, maybe it's pheromone induced. I'm not sure. I should do some further research on that. But so far, I have no idea. So, is there anything else you want to add, Lucas?
How is it that a bee can fly?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little off base, but it is having to do with bees. And I actually, while I was researching, I got a little curious myself. Bees kind of do this sort of, and don't quote me on this, but what I heard was bees do this sort of like figure 8 infinity kind of movement with their wings that kind of like creates a sort of updraft. So they don't beat their wings like birds do, which is why it gets confusing looking at the size of their wings as opposed to their body. But I hear that they just move their wings in this sort of figure 8 motion, but it's too fast for us to see. You have to slow down. You have to watch it in a sort of what's that camera called?
A slow motion camera.
Right. Okay. But is there anything else of interest?
Not that I can think of now.
Okay. Well, thank you for your participation, Lucas. We'll see you next time.